Good evening, everybody. You find us a mix of anger, apathy,
and just giving up.
Yeah,
great.
And great.
And beauty.
Yeah.
And beauty.
Which one's that then?
Where?
Sorry.
Where? Is there someone out Rez's window? Is there a prostitute walking down the road?
Walk that way, Rez. You walk the other way, Rez. Sorry, no, you missed that.
The duck in the top corner.
The duck. Oh yeah, the StreamYard duck. Yeah, he's beautiful, isn't he? Beautiful fluffy feathers. Although it's probably too early to say this, isn't it, into the start of the stream, but ducks are nature's renowned rapists, aren't they? They're one of the biggest rapists in nature.
Oh, Alan's got his toast.
Got me toast.
What have you got on your toast this week then, Al?
Still unhealthy.
What we got on there this week, Al?
Is it duck?
Just butter
at the moment. A bit of duck, is it?
Just a bit of butter.
Yeah. Fried duck.
Yeah, duck on toast.
After what I've just revealed about them in nature. Nature's rapists, ducks.
Hello, Cody Mack.
Bonjour, Mr. Mack.
Hello, Cody.
Bonjour.
Rez has to go.
Where?
He's got nowhere to go. He's a homeless bum.
Yeah.
Nature's rapist.
They are. We had a duck.
Nature's rapist.
They are. If you look at them, I'll send you some links later. Rez, they just go around bumming whoever they want. Basically, they without any consent from the female ducks.
Lots of animals. Loads of animals do that,
ducks are apparently renowned to be one of the worst.
Yeah.
We had a duck. Rez has to chase that bird down the street.
No, it's fine.
She'll
if
come
she's
back.
Good enough, she'll fall in my net. It's fine.
Yeah. We had in our local pond at work. We had afro duck. It was like a duck with an afro. It was like a I don't know what's the politically correct word for using it. It was like a genetic anomaly, and it looked like it had a Jimi Hendrix afro on it.
Okay.
If you go on Facebook and put in Astro Duck, there's a whole group dedicated to spottings of this particular kind of duck, which has got a mutation. It looks like it's got a Jimi Hendrix afro on its head. The Afro Duck. Brilliant. Yeah. Anything to avoid talking about Tottenham and last night, eh?
Well, as you all know from the comments, I can't really talk about last night much, can I?
What happened? You turn it off, did you?
Yeah.
How many minutes did you last,
20.
Alan?
20. I think it was about 20 minutes. It was just a case of I mean, don't get me wrong. I know I've done the show like yesterday with the U8 Spurs Eurasian, but I weren't feeling 100%. You know what I mean? And I was laying there feeling absolutely rubbish anyway. And I'm watching the football, and I'm thinking, well, they're going to cheer me up because they're going to show me that they're a football team. And I think after 20 minutes, I thought, well, you ain't touched the ball really, so I don't think I can be bothered to watch you.
We did all right the first 10 minutes. Did they cheer you up in the first 10 minutes or not?
Well, did we touch the ball? Because I missed it. Or was that when we just
yeah, we had a few.
We didn't concede, and I think we might have had a chance. So that was
positive. That's pretty much it.
I must have sneezed then. I must have sneezed at the time. I mean,
it was 13 minutes. 13 minutes, and that was it.
Yeah, it was bad
Chelsea
news.
then just took control.
It was
and
bad
it was
news.
So obvious.
You had, you. I don't know what's wrong with Regulon, but you got Doherty again on the left, and I see 2 or 3 times where he actually had a chance to cross it,
He was facing his own goal half the time. Me and my brother noticed it. Every time he got the ball, he was facing his own goal. He had no interest in going that way. He was just like getting it and then playing it back to Ben Davis.
But he's on the edge of the area. He's on the edge of the area and he's passing it back. And I'm thinking, if you cross it, we might even get a corner that might lead to something. But
yeah, he tried one left foot cross, didn't he? And that scuffed across the box and got cleared.
Yeah,
I can't even offer you any light relief from my book this week because they're all crap ones from about 1920.
Right.
We've got I'll offer you the option there. You've got 1923 is literally the only one. January 13th, 1923.
Yeah.
Midland League outfit Worksop Town came to White Hart Lane in the FA Cup and leave with a very credible draw. Spurs had been semi-finalists the year before and even included 6 of the side that won the competition just 2 years earlier as a mark of respect for their lowly opponents. But they still couldn't get one over the Nottinghamshire amateur club.
Oh.
The replay, staged just 2 days later, again at White Hart Lane, saw Spurs shift through the gears, however, in an emphatic 9-0 victory. So Spursy has been going since 1923. So we were semi-finalists the year before.
Spursy would have been to lose the replay.
Yeah.
9-0.
And then lose the replay. Yeah.
9-0. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. The
don't
point
make me laugh when I'm eating, please.
Yeah, the point is that we used to be a team that won things. Yeah. That's the point.
Derek, you should have seen us without Conte. You know, that was with Conte. What you got out of the team last night. Imagine what we would have had with Nuno.
Nuno, Christ Almighty! To be honest, if it had been Nuno, we would have been
out after the first leg.
Yeah, exactly. I said it yesterday. I said it to Brad as we were walking down the high road. I said to him, "We escaped Stamford Bridge last week, right? We got out with our lives. They could have utterly destroyed us, right?
Yeah.
It actually shows how badly they're playing that they only got past us 3-0 in total.
But this is what I was saying. This is what I was saying the other day. This is what I've been saying, last night. 3 goals that we pretty much gave them. Come dine with me. Jens. I'm not the one eating, mate. I have abstained after. I've
only got these left. Just give me a second. I haven't had any. I'm not eating today.
Reg, stop. I've been saying this for the last few weeks. Chelsea are not playing well.
Packet of Maltesers. That's all I can offer up. Like you lot are all eating, and I've got some packet of Maltesers.
I've got nothing.
Nothing wrong with that.
I got nothing. And no, but Chelsea aren't playing well. But we gave them 3 goals, and they didn't have to come out second gear. They just toyed with us.
Yes.
That was it, pure and simple. The first game should have been battered 6 or 7-0.
A lot of people, are going on about he got the lineup wrong and all of that. It's like, no, listen, we could have played with the full thing. It would have given us a maybe 5% greater chance of getting a result, which was already in the point somethings, right? We were beaten. We were beaten yesterday before we even kicked off. Yeah. So I've got absolutely no issue with the lineup that Conte put out. Right. We were never going to win that game.
No. Well, we shot ourselves in the foot, though, didn't we? Lascelles losing the ball on the edge of the area when we were on the break. All we had to do was take it past that man, and then that led to the corner which they scored from, and then Galini flapping.
If it wasn't that, it would have been something else.
Maybe
it would have been something else, right?
Yeah,
100%. We are not good enough. We're just not good enough. Okay, it's frightening to watch, and this. I was saying this last night as well. Everyone will say that we're no, we're fine. We'll still be Premier League players, Premier League club. They said the same about Villa. All right, Villa are a fucking massive club. Okay, and they went down. Yeah. So unless Daniel Levy or Enoch either get that guy out of his position as a chief executive and bring somebody else in, or radically alter the manner in which they do things, that fate may befall us. It is possible. Yeah, we're not that big.
Leeds.
Lads, I'm just going to pop off and eat this because I can't feel comfortable eating when I'm in front of
I
people.
can put you on mute if you want. Then you can eat away to your heart's
Yeah.
content, Alan. There you go.
You
You're on
eat
mute.
away
You're
to your
muted now.
heart content, and then you don't need to worry about Jens judging you. So it's fine.
I'm just going to stop my camera for a random reason
Are
as
you?
well. Yeah, a random infused reason.
You're not.
I'm still here.
You're not going to open the window and shout after that bird, are you, Rez?
No. I told you. If she meets my standards, my net will automatically.
I didn't know he spoke fluent duck.
Yes.
Yes, Cody, exactly, mate.
Cody says, Rez, I said the same thing on Twitter today about the lineups,
Yeah.
etc. Getting a lot of blowback. Interesting to see the panel's analysis, particularly about Lloris not playing.
No.
I won't share the next one, Cody. I'll share it quickly.
No, he's right. Oh yeah, no. Random wanks after 11 o'clock.
Yeah, after the watershed. I'm sure
Yes,
it's after 11 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
So let's start with that point then. I've just put up the teams, but the first talking point on there is obviously what Cody's just brought up. What did we all make of the news that Galini was playing instead of Lloris? Barry, we'll start with you and then work our way around.
Well, it's because I'm the only one that's left on camera, not eating or doing something.
not eating or
wanking.
Yeah. It's not 11 o'clock yet.
You can see why I chose you now. I rushed to choose you.
Exactly. Look, I think Conte was making a point last night. He was saying, look, if you don't get this deal over the line for Lloris, this is what I've got in goal. Which is okay. To be fair to him, apart from the flap and the one save that he did make, he didn't have a lot. He didn't have a lot to do, if that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, Galini. Obviously, we were sitting there thinking, asking why Sessegnon didn't start, and then, you didn't have Doherty anywhere near the pitch. So there was that question. Lo Celso started for about 5 minutes with a bit of shithousery and then started falling over all over the place. Skippy, again, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen Skip and Winks play and start together.
I think I broke the record of being like a nodding dog last night. Every time Lo Celso had the ball, I was just like,
"Yep,
yeah,
absolutely useless. Did nothing with it."
Just seeing the team, it was a point. Conte was making a point. This is what I've got, and if we don't, if Hugo doesn't sign his new deal, if we don't get the players in that I've given you the list of, and potentially it'll be worse than that because Kane will be off and Sonny will be off. Because why would they hang around? Like you said earlier, LJ, he's wasted his career for what,
I felt so sorry for him last night. We'll get onto that later. I thought he was brilliant last night. Me and my brother were watching all of his touches. He was sort of single-handedly trying to get us back into the game, wasn't he, really? The only one that showed any quality, the only showed any fight. Well, Moura was all right, Winks was all right, wasn't it? But I thought Kane was brilliant. That was the only positive to take from the game, that he looked to be back, his touch, and seems to be back to his best last night. He had a few good touches in the end. But specifically with the decision to put Galini in, then Big Al, you finished chewing or not? Thumbs up or thumbs down? No, 2 minutes. Rez, what did you think when you heard the Galini news? Were you surprised?
No. I did not expect a full strength team. I didn't, because I see what they have lined up, and don't get me wrong. Before the game, I didn't say we're going to lose. I was positive, right? Because that's what I have to do. As a supporter, that's what I have to do. But inside, I knew we weren't going to get over the line, right? It was too great a hurdle for us to get over. If we'd been 1 goal down after the first leg, I'd have been, that's insane. Play the full strength because we can get to a final here. But we were 2-0 down, and it was a capitulation in that first half. We lost that game in the first 45 minutes, right? Not yesterday, the first leg. After 45 minutes in the first leg, that was it. We were out. Okay. Could we have won? Yeah, of course we could have done. The possibility always exists, but experience has told me. That's why I thought I was actually quite optimistic in my prediction. I said we'd win 2-1, but I didn't believe it.
Yeah,
Right.
I thought we'd win 2-1. I thought we'd concede early and then get 2 goals back. But
I said, as I said on Spurs Eurasian, I thought we would lose 2-1. I really did think we were going to lose last night anyway. But I just wanted to see a fight. And to be honest with you, as I say, there's just no fight there at all. There's no, I don't know, no passion.
Yeah.
15 likes and Alan's going to knock out a bit of status quo. Is that what we're saying?
Whatever you want.
Oh, he's already done it. Doesn't need any likes. Look, got to keep him waiting, Al.
Oh, okay.
Come on now, don't peak too soon.
Yeah, don't spunky load too soon.
I won't be able to remember the words of all their songs. I mean, we're going back years now.
I don't think they would sit there with that many words to it, were they?
Speaking of singing, I'm sort of sat opposite where the away fans sit, and then giving it all this. And what could we respond with?
No, that I've got that as a talking point. After all that nonsense about you're not allowed to sing "Rent Boys," you're not allowed to sing this, you're not allowed to sing that. It completely de-armed us last night. Like you could, the crowd were Chelsea fans were hitting us with their usual scummy chants, and we were just like, thanks to the club, we can't even respond.
There were times, before they scored, we were giving as good as we got. We really were. We were drowning those scumbags out. Right, really, they every time they started singing, we were just screaming them down, right? But then they scored, and it was like we cannot even respond anymore.
Wind out of ourselves.
The odd "come on, you Spurs" ringing out occasionally, but that our heart wasn't in it. Our heart really wasn't in it.
The atmosphere wasn't that good last night.
No.
It wasn't even, it wasn't even on Man City levels before the game, was it? There wasn't any expectation at all. I don't know if it's that decision to play Galini. They've just completely taken everyone's wind out of their sails.
I wouldn't focus on that overly.
Yeah,
I really wouldn't. I will tell you that until they scored, we were in full voice. Right? It was. I mean, I've not been to that many games because I wasn't a season ticket holder until this season. But it was louder than the league game against Chelsea, in the first half, and we were loud then. This was thing, and bearing in mind it was only 45,000 people, there was a lot of noise. I mean, it sounded full. It really did. But once they scored, it just knocked the stuffing out of all of us.
Knocked the stuffing out of the team, didn't it? I didn't see what had happened until after the game. It looked like a soft cross that came in, but I've subsequently seen that he flapped and missed the ball and it hit Rudiger on the back. That arsehole came and celebrated right in front of us as well. I think his teammates had to drag him away from us in the end because I let him have a few choice words.
And that was
I don't like that guy.
They beat us 3-0 on aggregate, and to be honest with you, we created 3 goals for them. Every goal we gave them. Literally handed them to it on a plate.
Yeah. I don't think there was. In answer to that, I don't think there was because the upper tiers had people in them. Yep. If there was a cap, those would have been empty because they would have moved them down. So
there was no cap.
There was no cap.
Few of the guys that I normally go with, I said when I booked my ticket, you go into this one, I'm like, nah. We're not interested at all. Like we said, I mean that's going to hit him in the pocket, isn't it? I mean, a London derby in a semi-final, against one of your rivals, and we could even sell out this. And West Ham, I think West Ham had more than us last night for a league game against Norwich, didn't they?
So.
It's a sad indictment of our fans.
Good. Yeah. Good. Stay away. Stay away is fine. Hit them in the pocket, right? Make them understand, because that's all they understand. That's all that fool seems to grasp. Is
as long as they weren't making season tickets.
Was he there last night?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Did they show him on telly?
He was sat there sat there on his own, looking like
The
I think
twat that he is.
Someone
Yeah.
said he was looking at his phone, wasn't he, or something?
Someone said
Yeah.
even the director's box wasn't full, was it?
no.
No, almost in the chairs around him.
Al, you know what? I mean, you're right. You're sort of right about the season tickets, but at the same time, what I will say is this: is the season ticket is not the be all and end all for them,
No, that,
because it's also about that rolling revenue that keeps
Yeah.
coming throughout the season as well. So I would never say to a season ticket holder, do not renew, right? Renew your season ticket, because at the end of the day, no matter what else happens, we still do support our club,
yeah,
right? There's hitting them a little bit, and then there's doing stuff that could really cause major problems. But I'm firmly of the belief that an occasional boycott, right? One game, let's say a minor league game, against a Norwich or a Newcastle or something like that. Don't go, right? Don't go, or go to the high road, meet up with your mates in the pubs, but don't actually go into the stadium. Just one game, right?
Or go and
Let's
watch
see
Enfield or Barnet
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. See what it looks like when there's only 20,000 in that stadium, or even 10,000 in that stadium, because there'll always be some that don't give a shit and will go in anyway.
Yeah.
Right. But that kind of messaging, we're not happy, you're not making us satisfied with what you're doing, sends a message. And the way that he understands it is through that money. Don't buy stuff in the stadium. Don't visit the club shop. I mean, I despair when I see the queues for the fucking shop. It's like, don't go in there. Don't do it.
When it comes to, as I said to John yesterday, when it comes to Spurs shirts, it don't matter how many they sell, because the only people that make money out of that
is
Nike.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because Nike have already given us some money. So Nike, in some senses, Levy couldn't give two monkeys whether we sell the shirts or not. It just means if we don't sell them, the net still we get won't be nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
I think we get something like 15 pence for every shirt, and they're not that many. It's in the hundreds of thousands. A lot of people think, if you sign a big name player, shirt sales will cover their thing. Nowhere near. Nowhere even close. We get a very paltry amount. It's about branding. It's about brand recognition. The shirt sales thing. That's why both sides like it. But the point is that although we might not necessarily get the money in terms of what is sold, it is the numbers in there. It's still revenue generated. Yes, of course, some of it then has to be passed on, but that bulk figure, that gross figure of this was how much was spent in the club shop this Saturday, this Sunday, this Wednesday. If that drops, if the figures at the bars drop, if the things that they look at very closely, because they're very aligned with that financial thing, when those start to go, when the spikes get lower, week on week, it sends a message in the same way that when the crowd started shouting, "We want Levy out," after at the Man United game.
I remember that one.
It sent a message. It's about us sending messages and saying, we are onto you, and it will get worse. This is just the tip of the iceberg. He shat himself when that happened. That's why we got Conte, and then he thought that would be enough. It's time that he's told, no, if anything, you've given yourself more to do, because you picked a manager that we want to succeed. And if you don't give him the tools to succeed, we're going to be onto you. You will have to dread you will come to dread setting foot in Tottenham.
Where do we go from there?
I think the problem we've got is Lewis. If Lewis was going to chuck money at us, I think he would have chucked it by now. Levy ain't going to chuck the money, so we're only going to have the money what we got on our doorstep. And to be honest with you, I don't know how much we got.
Yeah, but
No.
do you know what? But the point is,
Or how much the bank lend is, or what?
I mean, all the other clubs seem to have money every season, every summer.
Yeah.
Every summer.
Yeah.
What is so fundamentally different about us? And
But
we've got the lowest wages as a proportion of our turnover in the Premier League and possibly the entirety of the league. And yet we're cash strapped. We pay the lowest wages in comparison to our turnover. We've got all these revenue streams allegedly. Where's the money?
Yeah. I ain't got a clue, mate.
That's what is driving me nuts. Where's the bloody money?
We've got the best manager that probably we will ever have in the next 30 years. And I think either he's gone to the Bahamas or, like Daigle said yesterday, Bermuda, and wish he got lost in the Bermuda Triangle. I think he's gone there, and he's gone. We're going to have maybe he's realised, we've got a problem here, because Conte looked like he was silenced last night in that press conference, and he couldn't say how he was feeling. The same that happened to Mourinho, the same that happened to Poch, and it's the same thing that's been happening over and over and over again. So we all sit there and say, you know, he's clever in everything that he does, but maybe he's realizing that he's in the shit now, because we are 13 days into the transfer window. The Traore deal is now going to be a loan with the option to buy. Galini is loan with an option to buy. So I think, you know, whatever we think money we're going to get in the summer, like Daigle was saying, it's like 70, 80 million of that is already gone.
It's already been taken. Yeah, that's right.
So what, we're going to get another 200 million in the summer to spend?
Absolutely not.
No.
Yeah. And then he'll turn around and said, we spent 70 million this summer. It's like, yeah, on players you'd already brought in. You know, it doesn't stop.
I said it a few weeks ago, and I'll say it again. Conte is gone in 2 weeks' time. 100%.
Right now, I wouldn't be surprised.
And I'll be even surprised if he lasts 2 more weeks. If I'm honest, you know?
Yeah.
Because all at the moment that Levy is caring about, he's caring about the Skywalk, he's caring about the museum, he's caring about the dare to drop, and all these people that you see on the thing going, oh, I've got a ticket, oh, look at me on the Skywalk, look at me doing this, look at me doing that. And then today, oh, we've got approval to do the homes. And I know the homes are all part of it, but there's a time and a place to make announcements. And that was not and I know it hasn't come from the club, and I know it's come from someone else, but there is a time and a place. And those people, same as the people that come along and say, oh, I don't agree with all those people that are Levy out. Look at what he's done for the club and blah, 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 blah.
What has he done for the club? What has he done for the club is the immediate response.
Are the problem.
I think it did come from the club, Nick, because Alistair Gold shared it earlier. He said, we've received these from the club today. So it was from the club. It wasn't someone stirring.
But not leaked it officially. So, you know.
But you know what? The point of it is that it's if they had done the right thing, if they had looked after the football side of things, we wouldn't mind. No. Great. It would be water off a duck's back. It would be like, oh, how incredibly interesting. Next,
you and your ducks.
Yeah. You know.
Let's go for it.
Levy can duck off. That's for certain.
Let's go through a few of the comments here, because the guys are hot on the press here in the comments. So Derek said about it's send Galini back to Atlanta and use Whiteman instead.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
might as well.
Do you think last night it was because of Galini's kicking's better than Hugo? Because he's got that big bomb of a kick, hasn't he? Maybe he was hitting it long for Kane and Moore. Maybe that was one of his reasons for picking him.
That might make sense if it wasn't for the fact that every time our fullbacks got beyond the halfway line, they'd stop and check back.
I didn't. We were listening to Cundy on the way home, unfortunately, on Talk Sport. And he said, he was talking crap. He was talking crap, but he was basically gloating at our demise, basically. But one of the things he said was the key to Conte's system when he was at Chelsea was wing backs that were high up the pitch, right up the pitch, in line with the forwards. He said last night you had Doherty and Emerson just, basically hanging on the the toenails of the centre backs, weren't they? They weren't going anywhere. It just wasn't an Antonio Conte system at all.
No, it wasn't.
Jens says, "Don't give the Barnet chairman money. He's like Levy."
Okay.
Enfield Town it is then.
But okay, at least he's investing in the football club and around the football club and trying to, I went to Barnet the other Saturday, and for a non-league club, that's pretty impressive. I mean, I know we're paying for the pitch because obviously the ladies play there, but he is a bit. I do agree with Jens in that he is in a bit of Levy on a kind of minor scale in terms of, there was a couple of floodlight bulbs out and everything else, but for a non-league club, that it was pretty impressive.
Good.
I think it's different gravy anyway. I think it's just completely different gravy. I mean, we're talking about, as I keep saying recently, the 6th biggest club in the country, right? It's not about, it really isn't what Barnet are like or aren't like. Okay, we're the 6th biggest club in the country that has not won a trophy in 14 years.
Like the
years.
Like the poster Brian was holding up last night. It's our worst run for 71 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kim says Alistair Gold is claiming that Levy's to give every season ticket holder an eagle in order to appeal to America, and that's the NFL. Is there any truth to this?
If it is, it'll probably be like some replica egg or something that you got to grow yourself and then look after and invest in, and eventually it won't even hatch. That was a shit analogy.
Sad comment from Graham here. He says after 55 years he's considering not renewing this season. I mean, I was strongly considering not renewing this season, mate, but we said that we'll be here long after Levy goes. I know it's difficult to
absolutely. You say that though, but who's going to bloody buy us? Who's going to pay the money they want for it?
I don't know. It doesn't have to be a sale. It doesn't have to be a sale. It can be just a change of bloody chief executive.
He's not gonna suddenly cut all ties with the restaurants and the hospitality and everything else, is he? So you're not going to get. The only way he's leaving that club completely is in a box. Realistically, that's the only way he's leaving Spurs. So
one of the proposals that they said he might have gone to speak to Joe Lewis about in the Bahamas was basically trying to sell 30% of the business to that Malaysian businessman. So Levy up in his state to 30% or 33%. Lewis would go at 33%, and the Malaysian businessman would go at 33%. That's one of the things that they said they might be talking about. But Eugene says he's an Arsenal fan, isn't he? That guy.
I don't know.
Potentially, but the point is though is that isn't necessarily going to generate money for Spurs, because if I have shares in a company and I sell those shares to someone else, the company doesn't get anything.
No.
I get the money, they get the shares.
The shareholder gets it.
Yeah. Unless the only way you can generate it is by a share issue, which you can potentially do to an individual.
Well, I think it's 15% are owned by fans anyway. Isn't it? There's still 15% the fans own.
Well, that's a top Hotspur. So
Cody says he spoke about it at length last night on a stream. The stadium has sucked the soul out of the club and marginalised the born and raised fans to the point where the owners don't give a shit about them. I think we know Levy doesn't really care about the legacy fans, does he? He's quite happy for them to all go and get new fans in that are new to the stadium, and they've got to spend money in his shop.
Well, I was thinking about that. And do you know what? I'm not entirely sure that could happen in terms of him filling a stadium with enough fans week in or fortnight in, fortnight out. If, say, the legacy fans do abandon the let's say the stadium, because who really? I mean, let's put it to you guys. Last time you went on holiday, did you immediately seek out a sporting event to go to? Was that first high on your list of priorities?
No.
I mean, you get people going to Australia to the Ashes, don't you? Things like that.
Yeah, but they're going for the Ashes, and that's one event a year, right? You're talking about 19 home games minimum that you want to fill that stadium. I mean, if we can't even fill the stadium when Norwich we're playing Norwich, the chances of being able to fill it with tourists, 19 fixtures in a season, is pretty slim. I don't believe I know that he doesn't care about them. He doesn't care about anything except money. But if he thinks that he's going to be able to generate revenue in the absence of your actual, dyed in the wool fan, he's on a hiding to nothing. He really is. It's not going to generate.
No, Reg, but I think if you look at it, right, and we got our season tickets, and we were fortunate to get our season tickets because of a number of factors, right? Mm-hmm. And I can guarantee you that if we all wanted to, we could probably choose to all sit together next season, because the options will have that option. Whereas how in the past, before COVID, and when we're in the heyday of Poch and everything else, it was difficult to just barely get a ticket, let alone a season ticket.
At White Hart Lane, they wouldn't even accept applications into the east or the south for moving. No one ever left their seat in this south or the east.
That's right.
And obviously the capacity's increased. I get that, but at the same time, there will still be, like you say, and I think this problem started when we went to Wembley, because there weren't real fans there. There were fans that could just go and get a ticket because it was Wembley and it was big, and there was enough seats and everything else. And it's just carried on. I mean, last night, seeing how we could, I know we played rubbish last week, but it was only half time. We get an early goal and it changes everything. That stadium should have been full and it should have been rocking. And plus, the tickets were only 25 quid.
Yeah.
It's not like they were 50, 60, 75. Like, if it was a semi-final at Wembley, it'd have been 80 odd quid last night,
Yeah. 5 years ago, if we were playing Chelsea in a semi-final, we'd have been sold out twice over, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I
mean, let me just look this up, actually, because I got a ticket bulletin a second ago. I'm just interested to see.
Whilst Reg is looking at that, Derek says he'd love to see leaving the Championship with his fancy stadium. Then we might see the back of him. He might not sell though, Derek, because he might think his investment's dipped a bit and he wants to build it back up before he sells it. So we might get stuck with him even if we got relegated.
I still think we're stuck with him, to be honest with you. I just can't see anyone.
It's a sad indictment though, isn't it? It's our club, not his.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is the issue, and this is what a lot of people this crystallized for me when that Boy Hotspur character had a go at Stells some time ago, and his constant refrain was, "It's a private business. It's a private business. It's a private business." No, it isn't. Okay, it's not a private business because it's not subject to the usual economic factors of supply and demand, right? You have a captive audience. You have customer base that is not going to leave if you don't deliver. Okay. And for that reason alone, that gives us every right to demand answers, because the debt that club has taken on has been taken on without our permission, and we're the ones paying it off. We don't get the choice, we do get the choice. Ultimately, the choice does exist that we can choose not to fund it. But if we do that, we run the risk of destroying our club and of it going under because of debt. And Levy knows that. And he relies on that. He relies on our loyalty. Okay? That loyalty is worth hundreds of millions in real terms, because he knows that we're not going to let our club go under. And so we'll keep giving money. But that gives us rights. That gives us a right to demand answers and demand action, and if necessary, demand that he leaves. Leave. We do not want you. You are not welcome.
Absolutely. As Graham said, he'd only missed 4 games since 1970, and Lewis and Levy have taken his heart and soul away. I said to you guys earlier, there was a lot of anger and people ranting on our WhatsApp groups, and I was just like, meh, it's been stripped out of me as well. I just couldn't work up any anger after last night. It was just thoroughly depressing watching how far we've slipped away from the level of Chelsea, you know.
Yeah.
It was literally, like you said earlier, Rez, it was like a championship level team. Bar Kane, Winks had a good game, and maybe Moura. The rest of the team is a championship team, wasn't it, really? Completely slipped away from Chelsea's level when we were going toe-to-toe with them maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I said to my brother, you stick Dembele and Wanyama in that midfield, though. I think we'd have competed today. We used to have that big spine, didn't we? The powerful spine there.
Yeah, it's just in such a short space of time as well that it's fallen apart. You know, 4 years, 4 years, and the whole thing has gone to absolute pieces.
People were saying on TalkSport though, it's not going to be easily fixed by 1 or 2 players. But like I said, if you'd have had 2 midfielders in there, 2 strong, 6 foot strong. Look at West Ham with Declan Rice and who's the other guy that they got in midfield there? 2 strong centre midfielders, and you can dominate most teams. So you can. It's not a million miles away, is it, from just some good recruitment, and we can start the process, the rebuild process.
Yeah.
Like I said, if Conte's here for 18 months, the rebuild starts now, doesn't it? Why are we waiting until 6 months into it? If you're painting a wall and you've got 18 months to paint a wall, why are you waiting for 6 months to start painting the wall? You start straight away. You give them the bricks, don't you?
Yeah. And by the time you get to start building it, you know, something else has happened that makes it you've got even more work to do in that time that you've not done any work.
Yeah.
You know?
It's when you feel like that, Graham, that's the time to sort of reintegrate with the fans, isn't it? Because it's us fans which have been around before Levy and will be around after Levy, and we've seen the good days and we've had our brief moments of success. So it's time
you speak for yourself, because I don't know how long he's going to be here, and I don't know how long I'm going to be here.
I saw someone on Twitter the other day. They said they're 74 and they've resigned to the fact that they're never going to see Tottenham win the league. I said my brother said that when he was 23 or 24.
I'm 57. Well, coming up 58, and I've done the sin, lads. So, well, I haven't done it. My daughter's paid for it, but I'm going on a stadium tour with one of the players.
Yeah,
for my birthday.
Michael Hazard, I believe, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's So that's, maybe you can invite Graham with you. Meet him there. Meet him for a beer. Cody says yes, Rez, but not every match going fan is a legacy fan. There's a lot of people who are just happy to have a day out, regardless of the direction of the club.
Yeah. The problem is that the problem for the club in that regard is that is not I don't want to use the word reliable, a sort of guaranteed almost source of revenue. They do a lot of their calculations based on the legacy fans. That's the irony of it, is that they disparage us, and yet a lot of what they do is built on knowing that legacy fan, that core of legacy fan will always be there, or will be there more often than not, you know. No, Jens, it's not your aftershave, mate. It's the fact that you keep farting in the lift.
Are you coming on, Jens, or are you just going to...
You're coming on, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cody, are you working, or are you
he's happy with me from last night.
Are you going to come on? Or
working.
Kim, you going to join us?
Working.
Cody Mack working again, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
We hear you, Graham. We hear you. If you let your anger go, you'll end up behind bars.
Yeah. No, channel it. channel it. Don't
Stay
don't let it-
angry, Graham. Stay angry. Stay focused. Stay angry. Stay focused. Stay angry. Richard says we might not have we might have a moral right, but not a legal one. I guess that's what the boy Hotspur's knobbing on about all the time, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's not, because this is the thing with him, right? Is that he goes on about his contention is that we don't have a legal right to argue, or we don't have a legal right to criticize because it's a private business, and yet he has spent the last nearly 2 decades doing exactly that. What the boy Hotspur is saying is that if you don't argue the way that I think you should argue, then you're wrong. You should basically, it's all about him, right? I've read some of his stuff, and it's pretty thing, and it's also sort of mixed in with his own personal political view as well, in that if anything smacks of collective action, it's automatically socialist, which is ridiculous as well.
But Rez, because he's been in the armed forces, his opinion matters more than anyone else's. You know, that's how it works. You know,
In which case, yes, there's nothing else to say. I think we should all just shut up and go home.
Absolutely, yeah. We can't say a word.
Well, I'm home. I'm home already.
Cody's comment says it all. Let's just move on.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I was only answering Richard's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Derek shares Barry's fear that he doesn't think Conte will be there at the end of February.
You mean the end of January, not the end of February? He definitely won't be there at the end of February. Let's just make that point clear.
Well, I mean, if he's not there at the end of January, then by extension, he also won't be there at the end of February.
Yes,
so
exactly.
it's correct. It is correct. Yeah.
Factually correct.
What's in there?
Thanks, everyone.
That's my fridge magnet.
He's got his own fridge. Didn't notice that.
He's got fridge. He's got toast. He's got everything.
Yeah,
Toast on demand.
Yeah.
God,
Blimey.
I know I've got a fridge behind me, but it was a fridge.
But you're in the kitchen.
No, I'm in my mum's basement, Rez, remember?
Oh, of course, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wanking into a sock all day long.
That's
what I
right.
do.
Yes. Where
Right.
is Paul these days?
I'll tell you a funny story there, right? So when we were teenagers, my friends.
Not about me. Not about me.
No. I won't tell you their names, but my friend one day he goes, he was on about wanking in his room and stuff, and he goes, I don't use. He goes, I've got a technique. I don't use tissues. I use my sock. And I was like, we're like, hey, you wanking into your sock? He goes, yeah, but I've got a technique. So I've turned the sock inside out, mopped myself down, then put it into the washing machine. And we were in his mum's kitchen one day, and as his mum was going like that, pulling inside to turn his socks inside out to wash.
No.
And we're like, so all that time he thought he was getting away with discreet little deposits inside his sock, and his mum was turning them inside out the whole time. Imagine.
And for all those new viewers tonight, welcome to
That's the taste of the kind of thing you can get on this channel. Yeah,
this is it. We're forget being duck centric. I think we're quite semen centric. It seems.
We're wank sock centric.
Yeah. Well, it's pointless talking about Spurs because there's nothing to talk about, is there really?
Well, they're wank as well. So, it's kind of
link.
But ultimately, Spurs and wanking into a sock, it's all
and ducks. Yeah, ducks being rapists. That's a perfect summary. Outside Spurs, isn't it? Really.
This is our podcast. Welcome, all those the uninitiated.
Yes, it wasn't Jens. I must clarify, it wasn't him. Unfortunately, this is our modus operandi, isn't it?
I love that from Jens.
So, thanks everyone for the comments. We're up to date now. We're nearly up to date. Just got to put that one at that quankers.
Oh, get out! Get out!
Go back to work. Go back to work, Cody. Thanks, kid.
So thanks for all the comments, guys. So we need to go back to the review of this. Sadly, we need to go back to the match review. So we've done Galini. Who want? Rez, do you want to take Royale? Do you want to take Royale on?
It was. What would you expect from him? He's 22 years old, new to the league, hasn't played this position before, and yet he is at the moment seemingly our only right back, our only right wing back. So again, it comes back to what we've been ranting about all evening. Why do we only have Royale?
Because Doherty's
and,
got to play on the left.
his performance reflected that. Okay, that cross.
The shot, don't forget the shot when he was through on goal and the back pass shot that he had, and then the other one where he let it roll across him and it's rolled straight out of play, didn't he? When Harry put him in, he might end up being another, the greatest right wing back in the history of football, but he's not going to be that at the age of 22. Okay, he needs development, he needs practice, he needs time, and he needs a more experienced right back ahead of him, which we don't have. It's a bit worrying for a Brazilian, though, that he's got no talent going forward, is it? You'd think Brazilian would be quite good at going forward and scoring goals and crossing. And
I think we should stop buying Brazilians, because the other Brazilian of note that comes to mind that we did purchase was Gilberto, and we thought, wow, we're going to get a Brazilian, and he was...
He was good.
He was bad.
I said to Thiago yesterday about Royale being his Brazilian representation during the game, and he said, "No, Lucas Moura. Don't forget Lucas Moura." Yeah, so he was quick to.
He's the exception, I think, that proves the rule. I love Moura. I do.
Anyone
want to add anything on Tanganga, Nick?
I can't offer anything really, can I?
He's shot. He needs to go out on loan and get some regular games. However, we don't have the depth in the squad to allow that to happen. So,
Kim says, "Would you have kept Aurier on hindsight?"
Yes.
I would have.
Yes, absolutely. I really would have. I really, really would have. In Conte's system, he would have done a lot better, because there's less of the defensive, or he's got cover. And going forward, you can't fault Aurier for going forward. He did well,
Cody reminds us of Emerson's cross as well to the corner flag last night.
Yeah,
he says, "I think my soul actually left my body, has yet to return." He wasn't even challenged.
I think that accounts for the Quankers comment.
Nick Tanganga.
Yeah, so I guess there's nothing, I guess, like I've said, he needs to go out on loan. We haven't got the strength and depth. I think he's playing in the wrong position. I think, again, he was hiding to nothing.
He did a bit better second half when he started being a bit more aggressive, didn't he? When he had a few surges through the middle there.
There was it's that hesitancy between Galini. It was almost like he's taken over the Sanchez role of something's going to happen and it's going to be him that does something. Unfortunately, and you know what? When he played against Liverpool, and he, I thought this is gonna, it's going to be, this is going to be something good. But again, it comes down to the club, and the club have ruined this player.
Yeah, they haven't led his development very well.
He needs to go out on loan. As I say, if you ain't playing regular as a footballer, you're going to suffer. You
can't come in. You can't come in to two semi-finals having not played and expect to just suddenly go. It's not like Kim Wacker, like you slags.
Yeah. Do it. Do it. Why haven't
it's
you
not
done
like it's it's not
free.
Like with like Ledley, who wasn't training, who could just come in and play in a match and had all that experience because of his injuries and everything else. He doesn't have that experience. He's just getting dropped in, and it's the club's fault for not developing right, not leading him in the right way, and not doing what they should be doing to develop him. Because again, like with everyone, with Clark, with all these young players that have come in that are going to be good, and Spurs are going to make some, there's this next promising young player, and then nothing will happen, and then they'll go, and then they'll probably go somewhere and do well because someone will spend the time putting the time in with them.
It's a fine balance, though, Nick, because your development could be led more by Stan with Conte, because he's going to get you Conte fit, isn't he? And tactically, and that everyone says how good the training is, and the way that everything they're doing in training make him sharper. And well, obviously didn't show it last night, but would his development be better served Stan around Conte with the training and the fitness?
Only if he's first choice, because you've got training. And that's good. Yes, you learn under a manager, but until you've got the opportunity to actually apply that on the pitch, your development is only going to be, a partial thing, right? Tanganga will benefit more by playing week in, week out, especially in a league like the Championship, where it's a lot more physical. He will, as a central defender especially, that's the thing you've got to learn. It's vital to learn how to be physical, because you're always under the cosh as a defender when you've got the ball.
And right? Who was it in the second half, Rez? Sorry to interrupt. The ball went over and Tanganga just was like favourite for the ball. Next minute, the Chelsea
next minute he'd been skinned. Yeah, exactly.
I think he's been affected since that Palace game when he got sent off. He's kind of changed his game somewhat. The aggression that he was showing, he's had to temper it somewhat after getting sent off, hasn't he?
Yeah, potentially. But I mean, ultimately, look, that to me speaks about the culture at the club, because when something goes wrong, it's almost like they fall apart. It's almost like they mentally crumble. Whenever we have a bad result, like that time when we were going for the top of the league, lost to Liverpool in the last minute, and then after that, it just all went to crap. But
also against Palace, he was playing right back, then he's playing centre back, then he's playing on the left side.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying about but find one position and coach him in that position.
Yeah.
If we take on what Stelios was saying about Ndombele and not doing that with him, do that with Tanganga. Get him so that if you're talking about wanting to make, because ultimately all these young players is only because Levy wants to sell them to make a profit, right?
Yeah.
Coach him, make him 50, 60, 70, 80 million and do it that way. Don't sell him, flog him to the fucking wolves and let him just flounder, and then everyone's going, oh, Tanganga's done this and Tanganga's done that. The same with Emerson. He's only 22. He's not used to the Premier League, and because he's being put in that position and there's no one else, he's getting he can't cross the ball. But Christ, he's last night I didn't think he was as bad as he was the last few weeks. He wasn't the worst player on the pitch last night. Of course
not. But it's a gulf in quality. He's not, to my mind, Emerson is not a starting Premier League right back.
At the moment, no.
At the moment. He could be, but he's not at the moment. And that is the point. We can't have this. Every single one of our players has to be of a quality where you can say, yes, I understand why this player is a starter for a Premier League club, right? This is the problem that Newcastle have got. This is the problem with Newcastle. The reason that they're doing so badly is because their defense is Championship level.
Yeah.
Their defenders are not Premier League standard. Okay? So what do? They go out and they buy someone who has played in the Premier League, who has met that standard. Okay, he's in his 30s, but they went and bought him. We don't do that. We go and buy.
They're linked to Rodon, is it? They will need a centre back in there as well.
Yeah, right. Because even Rodon has played in the Premier League. He's still maybe not at that level, right? But he's on the cusp. We can't afford that because we're Spurs. Every one of our starting 11 has to be Premier League quality, not necessarily world-class quality, because we're not Man City, we're not Chelsea, but they should at least be good enough to be credible as Premier League starters.
But you could have last night. You could have started with Cesc, have Sanchez, have Rodon, and Ben Davies, and then you can have. You could, if you want to play Tanganga on the right, you could have Tanganga on the right, or leave Emerson on the right, and then you've got that option. But Rodon's obviously fallen out of favour. Reguilon's obviously fallen out of favour. I don't think it's an injury. I think something's been said because we've not seen him since that half time at Southampton. He's
I
not.
don't know.
featured.
I think
What we-
Sunday.
what we-
If he doesn't
what we-
play Sunday,
Yeah.
I would agree with you, Nick. If he doesn't play Sunday, I'll agree with you. I'd say he's probably fallen out of favour. But I genuinely think he's being saved.
He got subbed off, didn't he, at
in
half
general,
time?
I do agree with your point. But I think with Red,
Southampton, when he dived in and got that yellow card, didn't he? I wouldn't have thought he's been punished just for getting the yellow card.
No, I don't think so. I think there's been a problem, and he's sort of just gently coming back in. If he doesn't play Sunday, yeah, I'll be on board with what you say.
Just quickly there, Derek's comment. I presume you mean Kane and Moura, and you're not a Sanchez fan like Brian Daigle. If you'd like to put in the comments which are the two that you mean there. Cody's done a bit of intel. He's found out the Ducks have got 3 eyelids.
Excellent.
There you go.
We're an educational show as well as
absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, even when we talk about semen, it is educational.
Yeah.
You know?
And also educating the youngsters what not to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Wank on the outside of your sock, not the inside.
That's right,
Because
not
your
the
mum
inside.
turns it inside out when she's
Or
washing
use tissues.
Or
use tissues, yeah.
or do your own washing.
Yep.
That's
And then we're teaching the youth of today how to use a washing machine.
Exactly. See, this is the beauty of SSS, is that we're multi-layered.
Yep, Derek, you've restored sanity. It was Kane and Moore. I thought so. As we said, it was like 9 championship players. Winks did all right. He got stuck in, but Kane and Moore were the only 2 that had any quality last night, weren't they?
I mean, Winks. I was so disappointed with his overall performance. Not his effort. That was the right thing, but it was that promise of hope that maybe he's turned a corner, maybe he's going to be all right, and then he doesn't put in a great performance. But okay, maybe he had an off day. He's one of those that's actually managed to sort of move his way back into the maybe not. Obviously, there's always
maybe par.
Yeah, there's always an upgrade, but it's during the rebuild. Is he the priority to get rid of first, or has he given himself a bit of a stay until such time as we can then address his position?
Speaking of priorities to get rid of, that brings us on to the next player, Rez. You've got Davinson Sanchez last night in particular.
I didn't notice anything particularly bad. It wasn't a great performance by anyone, really. He specifically as a player is not the priority. However, centre back is, right? We need more than just Romero. We need another centre back. And I think that is a priority for us, especially when we play 3 at the back. I will defend Davis, as I've said, because he works hard. And last night he wasn't terrible. He was okay. He was solid, and he's been solid under Conte. But there are always upgrades available. We need another centre back, like a Skriniar, like someone like that, who will be our number 1 central defender, who has picked every game when he's fit. Then you've got Romero. Then you've got someone like Dyer, who is doing okay, but again, you can still upgrade. Then you've got Sanchez, who again can do a job, but you're still looking to upgrade. We don't have that. We've got Romero is the only one right now that we can say is relatively safe. And even then it's still question marks because it's his first season. We need more centre-backs, but Sanchez wasn't horrible last night.
There's that moment about 10 minutes from the end, though, when Sanchez went to clear the ball and it sort of fell to him in the area. Then he had no one around him and he just shinned it out to the edge of the area, didn't he? Like when he had pass to the left and pass to the middle, panicked and shanked it.
But that's the thing. You know what? I mean, the thing that Stel was talking about with regard to the way that we sort of jump on players, in a way he's right, because every player will make a mistake. Sanchez recently has not been making those kinds of mistakes, right? I'm not going to talk about the first leg or anything like that. He's not been as bad as he has been previously. So the potential for him to be a solid squad player, I think, exists, right?
He's a £40 million player, though, isn't he? So he's not going to be happy sat on our bench.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? For me, I don't. A player being satisfied to sit on the bench is his choice. That's his career, right? If he wants to develop and become better and become a first choice, that's up to him. As long as when he steps on the pitch, he's giving everything, as Sanchez did, right? He didn't go hiding yesterday. I can't turn around and blame those players last night. Not one of them, in my view, hid. They all tried their best.
Yeah, just weren't good enough, were they?
Yeah, we're just not good enough as a squad, and it is a squad game. If your overall quality is not good enough, you can work your socks off, and results are going to go against you. And it all comes back to what we keep coming back to. This is the fault of the club rather than the players themselves.
Recruitment issues, yeah. It looks like Alan's gone for another round of toast. So Barry, you get Ben Davies last night in particular.
I think Liverpool scored because Max is getting.
No, Arsenal got a player sent off.
Arsenal got a player sent off, did they?
Yeah, kicking Jota.
Oh, good.
Nice,
Good.
brilliant.
It's the highlight of the last 2 days, if I'm honest.
Yes,
Arsenal getting a player sent off.
Yeah,
Does that mean he'll miss the derby? Who got sent off, Nick?
I don't know.
I'll look it up while you address David.
Yeah, Davis. I don't. Again, I don't think he, was awful. I don't think he was great. He was just
Gentle Ben, wasn't he? Yesterday,
Yeah.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Xhaka.
Xhaka again. What are the odds on that?
Surprise. Can you guys give me 2 minutes? I'll be back shortly.
Of course, mate. Of course. Yeah.
Of
Oh,
course.
look at that. One in, one out.
Simon.
One in, one out.
Well, I see Jens called for a taxi, but I got there and he scrubbed.
She give him a kick in, did you?
No, he scrubbed. He did not. I'll get the cancellation.
He didn't do it. He didn't do an LJ, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
he didn't
Gaza,
do an
that's
okay,
Gaza,
do
wasn't
That was a Gaza, was it? Sorry, he was doing a Gaza.
You're just in time, Alan, to take on Doherty. What did you think of Doherty yesterday?
What, in my 20
The
minutes?
20 minutes that you saw before we turned off at a fit of
It
peak.
was one of the reasons why I turned off. I was so fed up of every time he got down to the byline or down towards it, and he stopped it over to his right foot. And I thought, right, now cross it. And I said, cross it, not pass it back to the whoever. Yeah, it was passing it back to Davies or passing it over to him, and it was just so poor. Yeah,
He was hauled up just after half time, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, was he all? I didn't see the second.
Yeah,
half.
they put Sessegnon on. Was it a
Oh,
half time, Barry? I can't even remember. When Sess came on, was it half time or just after?
No,
I don't think we made any changes, did we?
It wasn't that far after half time, but I wasn't paying that much attention at that point.
Yeah, less said about Doherty, the better.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be on his way. That was probably his last game, we're hoping, aren't we? That brings us on to Jens's mate, Højbjerg. Jens says he needs to shape up or sod off. What did you think of Højbjerg last night?
He's just tired. I think he just needs a rest. And, if we were going to do... I mean, I don't know what the plan is with Skip and whether Skip's starting on Sunday. And, I can't see how they can start with Skip and Højbjerg on Sunday, if I'm honest. But he needs a rest. But, again, it comes down to the depth of the squad. There isn't, you can't trust the sales show or the shit show, as Derek said.
Good name for a minute.
You don't want the fat one in. That's not me. That's
Bring me the fat one.
And Dombele, as in belly, and Dombele. And you don't want Delhi either. So you kind of haven't got a lot of choice of.
You ain't got no choice. What
you're going to play, but I would like to see Winks and Skip start, because Skip came on, and as soon as he came on, the intensity kind of, I know we'll probably come to it when we talk about the subs, but made such a difference. Højbjerg has almost gone missing the last month. He's just shot, and I don't think he needs to shape up or sod off. I just think he needs a rest. I think he just needs to have a break, but he can't, because we can't trust the people. Like Conte said, we can't trust the people that, if 2 or 3 players are out, he can't trust the ones that are going to come in.
I must admit, I thought in the short period of time I watched, I thought Højbjerg actually made himself busier than he has for a while. Whether he actually doing what he needed to, I don't know.
That's
but
all
he
he's
just-
bringing to us at the moment, isn't it? Busyness, getting around the park, trying to tackle people, get stuck in, give us some kind of a presence. But Rez, you can take on Winksy then, as you've just got back.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he worked hard, did his best. Wasn't wonderfully good. There were times where it was like, the one thing I did notice about him though is that he was the only midfielder that seemed to want to play any forward passes.
Mm.
You know, there were a number of times where it was a vertical pass, trying to get some through balls in. A lot of them, not a lot of them, maybe about half of them, if just off the top of my head, didn't work. But at least he was trying it.
Yeah.
There was still so much lateral passing, and he wasn't one of the main culprits. So, whereas before I've been very staunchly against Harry Winks and have wanted him to leave, he
He's
didn't
on your
do
maybe
terribly.
pile now, isn't he?
Yeah, he didn't do terribly yesterday. Relatively speaking, I mean, they all did terribly. Really, none of them really did much. But out of the 11, he wasn't the worst.
No,
which is not something that you can often say. Or we've often been able to say about him until recently. So, yeah.
Speaking of the worst, I think the next player was absolutely awful, and as Derek called him, the shit show. He was fucking awful last night, Lo Celso. I don't know what's happened to him.
Apart from the first 10 minutes, he was actually all right in that first 10 minutes.
I must admit,
I know that's not, that's not me excusing him at all. I'm just saying, isn't it interesting that he was all right for 10 minutes? That's all I'm saying.
He must have been bad when I went off.
Yeah, I think he forgot who he was for that first 10 minutes and then remembered.
It's his fault, the goal, wasn't it? He, on the edge of the area, he tried a stupid piece of skill, and all he needed to do is hold the ball up, try and be strong and shield the ball. And he tried the stupid little bit to flick it around the Chelsea player who robbed him, crossed it in, and they got the corner from it, didn't they? Which they eventually scored from. Yeah. So I think he was just awful the whole game. Everything he tried didn't come off. Yeah. You could see him. He was very reactive. He wasn't proactive. You could see that every time he lost the ball, it took him a second to think, I should probably chase after that. It wasn't like, oh, I've lost the ball, I need to go and get that back. It was like a token effort from when he was chasing after the ball and stuff. He wasn't interested at all. I think it was probably the worst game I've ever seen him play, to be honest. And I suppose we need to be fair that he's been now injured and he's only just come in, and it's a semi-final in a London derby, and he's not going to be sharp. But he didn't look like a player. They didn't look like a player at all there, did it?
Really? Not really. Yeah.
I mean, Bazza?
Barreled.
Basilford.
Basilford.
Phil Grant.
Lo Celso, have you got anything to add on Lo Celso?
No, just like you said, the first 10 minutes, we thought we were going to have a bit of shithousery. I thought he was going to get stuck in, and then he just went on and was falling over. And
then he had the free kick, didn't he? That where the penalty was overturned. He thought, oh, you're going to punish him here with a free kick, hits the wall.
Yeah, just again ineffective. Again, another signing that showed so much promise gets injured, and then just is riding the wave like the rest of them, taking their paycheck at the end of the week, and not performing to the way that we as fans or the club desire. Do you
think this malaise over the club at the moment could be that because Conte's basically told them they're not good enough and they're leaving? Basically, could it be anything to do with that? Like he's had a few home truths saying you're up for sale, and they've all been sort of told you're able to go if you want. If you get a good offer, you can go.
But what are we going to do? We need to.
It's honesty, but
we need 11 players. So the priority three are Doherty, and Ndombele and Delhi for me, and then Lo Celso slowly afterwards. But
I see a clip on something earlier that said that Atletico might be considering.
Yeah, Atletico Madrid. They sold Trippier, didn't they? So they got a bit of money in there. and it fit in well with them. To be fair, he did well in
The
Spain before, didn't he?
I
If he
think
wants
he's
to go to Spain and,
Yeah.
and play there, by all means, I think he'll be happy there, and he'll do better than the Premier League.
I think Lo Celso and Bergwijn are the two players that have actually other teams that want at the moment, aren't they?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
we might have to sacrifice them for the greater good.
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
hard
that's going to happen
hard.
with the prices that Levy wants for them.
Yeah. Once he
Yeah.
knows they're in demand, he's going to push the envelope, isn't he? And then
That's why he's got to go. That's why he's
Yeah.
got to go. We can't keep playing this game anymore at Spurs. We
he's
can't
pissed
keep
off
playing
all the
this
other
game
clubs.
of getting exactly. All right. How many chairmen have we heard say they don't like dealing with him?
Yep.
They don't
Yeah.
like dealing with him, and by extension, that means they don't like dealing with Tottenham Hotspur. Right.
They avoid dealing with us. Yeah, if you think about it, they're like, I like that boy Lo Celso. I don't really want to deal with that twat chairman. He's going to try and pull our pants down. He's going to
spend
months. He's going to change the terms of the deal at the last minute. And let's just go and get this other guy instead. Yeah.
Put yourself in an opposition chairman's or a different chairman's place, right?
Yeah.
You've got a manager. The manager has identified, I need this type of player, right? And there are 4 to choose from throughout Europe, right? Your number one choice would be Lo Celso, right? For whatever reason, okay? But your second choice is just as good for your manager, and your manager's okay with that. Which one are you going to deal with? Are you going to go and sit opposite that fucking dwarf, right? Who's going to try and rip the shirt off your back,
change the terms of the deal, the payment plans,
or get it done in a couple of days with a chairman who is a human being?
Yeah. Who wants to get the deal done for the best interest of all parties. Yeah. I think 4 players. Well, 4 players isn't asking. I think we need a centre back, a right wing back. I'd take Kessie if we can get him in. He's on the midfield by, isn't he? Traore.
Brozovic would be better than Kessie.
Yeah.
But we need a playmaker. We need a playmaker.
Is this Brozovic a playmaker? Is he?
Sort of. He fits Conte's system better. The interesting one, actually, there's sort of like a name that's not been mentioned in who we're linked with, and I saw it on Tifo Football. They did what they call realistic transfers, and this guy Guimarães, I forgot who he plays. There's somewhere in Portugal. Essentially, what the thing that's missing with our sort of central midfield is that basically Skip and Højbjerg will do similar things, right? And it's actually the classic midfield conundrum. You need 3 things. You need your destroyer, you need your ball carrier, and you need your creator, right? Skip can be your destroyer, and he can also be your carrier. And so what you need is someone who will basically be a carrier and a creator. So you've got your carrier is the sort of middle bit, your destroyer's at the base, your creator's at the front. And Guimarães allegedly does that carrying and also creating thing, the same as Brozovic. We need more than that as well. It's not just we've got Skip and one other, so we're fine. You know, you need your Skip and Højbjerg to back him up. You need your Guimarães, Brozovic, and someone to back him up. You know, potentially what you would really want is someone who can do, you know, who can play, say, for instance, potentially a creator and a destroyer, you know, who doesn't really carry but can play at the front or at the back of your midfield, you know, who can control at the base and also create at the front. So you've got cover. Again, we keep coming back to it. We're thin. Thin.
Unbalanced.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since we've been able to put a lineup out, and then you look at the bench, say, "Okay, we're okay there." It's been a long time since we've had that.
Yeah.
1 or 2 injuries, and it's very bare, isn't it?
And do you know what? It's been going on for longer than it was before Poch as well.
Yeah, Poch had a weak bench, didn't he?
Yeah.
You had Sonny and Lamella that would alternate a little bit, didn't he? But apart from that, there wasn't a lot.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
we do. Whose turn is it? Alan, you didn't really watch the game, but
No.
Harry Kane was superb
There you go.
last night. I thought he was back to
He looked like,
starting
as I say,
yeah,
in what
he's
I did
starting
see, he was working hard, trying to link up. But as I say, unfortunately, I just didn't see enough of anything really to be able to comment on the front three, because I never see enough of the game to be able to do it.
his
Sorry.
quality on the ball, especially second half when everyone else had given up. Kane just carried on trying single-handedly pretty much, didn't he, to try and drag us forward. I mean, he cut good runs, got good passes, scored his goals, then he like slightly overhit that pass to Moura maybe. Winks should have done better to find him in space. There's that one move where he had to dribble it himself, didn't he, from like past 3 or 4 players. I think that was the Moura penalty, wasn't it, when he could have maybe taken it onto his left and had a shot himself. But he looked more like the Kane that we know and love. That's one thing me and my brother said on the way home. It was a great performance from Kane in bad circumstances. As Scott M is here, it's only befitting that we talk about Lucas Moura, isn't it? What did you think about Lucas last night, guys?
Go on, Miss.
He did what he always does, which is work. He worked hard. He wasn't particularly effective. That's all you can really say. You know, he's a player that, again, if you did it like a list of first out of the door, last out of the door, he would be right towards the bottom of that list.
Depends who's making the list, Scott?
True. But you know, football is a team game, right? If overall you're ineffective, you can be the best player in the world and it won't matter, right? Look at Kane yesterday. What did he actually do in terms of getting a result? Nothing, right? No, I'm not saying he didn't play well, don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing him, but the whole team needs to be effective. You can't just rely on one world-class player to pull a result out of the bag for you. It doesn't work that way. And so Kane didn't deliver because it's not what his job is, right? His job is not to be the match winner. His job is to be the striker.
Yeah.
And so, again, Moura did what he could for the team, as he always does, but it wasn't enough because the quality is not there throughout the squad for us to have got a result. So, yeah.
The subs, Sessegnon came on for Doherty, Brian Hill came on for Lo Celso, and Skip came on for Winks. Barry, what did you make of the subs last night? Did they have any impact on the game when they came on?
Skip did. 100%. The moment he came on, it kind of lifted for that period of play when we were on that front foot. Again, I'd like to have seen him come on for Højbjerg and see what both Skip and Winks can do together. Hill didn't really have much to do in terms of in comparison to what Lo Celso did. He's too, I guess he's too light. Let's just say he needs to put a bit of bulk on. He needs to, and again, he needs some game time. Again, another one for the future, another one that we've got in. And he also needs to shave that stupid tash off his face as well. So maybe it's the first time he's ever grown one. But yeah, that's it. And Sessegnon should have started instead of Doherty. And based on what he did against Liverpool, unless he's still not 100%, then I don't understand why he didn't start, if I'm honest. So yeah, I mean, with Skippy again, you look at, if you're talking about halfway or nearly halfway through the season, or more than halfway or whatever point we are, Skippy for me has been the player of the season, 100%. And that just goes to show what happens when you go out on loan, you're getting game time, you're getting experience, and then you come back and you force your way in, whether that's because the other two in front of you are either in McDonald's or playing Fortnite. That's kind of by the by. He's made it. He's taken that opportunity, and that's what happens when you develop a player and you do it in the right way, and that's what needs to happen for a few others within the squad.
It goes back to what Stell was saying about Ndombele, doesn't it? It's got to come down to the personal individual, the hunger that they've got to develop and want to grow and to, right, you're going to be third choice this year, Skippy. No, I'm not. I'm going to battle. I'm going to get in. I'm going to prove to you that I'm going to be first choice. And when I get there, I'm going to carry on playing well and I'm going to keep my place and I'm going to make it hard for me to be dropped and I'm going to keep you out of the team. And that's
Absolutely.
that hunger which Ndombele hasn't got, has he?
He went to Norwich, and Norwich are like the team that will yo-yo up and down. They're probably too good for the Championship, but they're not good enough for the Premier League, right? And they have the money, and they have the parachute payments, and they have everything else, so that they go down and they come straight back up, or they'll come up within, so the parachute payments don't run out. He went there, and he was like, "I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to learn. I'm going to get kicked about. I'm going to graft. I'm really going to make an impact." And then when I come back, I'm gonna be on that. I'm gonna be one of the first names on that team sheet.
I think it helped the defensive side of his game. He was more of a box to box when he was growing up through the youth teams, but he played defensive midfield last year, so he just shielded that back line in the Championship.
I still think he's got the ability to be more box to box than he is. He's got a good pass on him as well. He can pass the ball. Not so much as to be like an Eriksen sort of, your playmaker or your creator, but certainly enough to fill a classic central midfield right in the middle midfielder.
Yeah,
I think
he's got to pass out, and he can pass it out to the wings.
Absolutely, he's got the thing. So and when he came on, the one thing that he brought was more intensity, right? Yeah. We started putting Chelsea a couple of times, not often enough, on the back foot, so much so that they had to start relying on Alonso more and getting it out to the wings to progress the ball
on as well, don't they?
Exactly, I brought Kante on to try and take back control of that center of the park, because when he came on, he started having an effect on the middle of the park. For me, Gil actually has no future at Spurs under Conte, right? Because he is a winger. He's a winger. Yeah. He's not an attacking midfielder. He's not a cam. He's not a striker. He's a winger. Conte doesn't play with wingers. He plays with wing backs. And in actual fact, his wing backs have to be, he plays them very, very far advanced. So there's no room for Gil. And I don't think you can turn him into an inside forward like Sonny. And so for me, Gil is surplus, right? I'm sure he's going to be a great winger in the future. And if Conte does, leave at some point, not at the end of January, but at some point, and we start playing differently and rely on wingers, yeah, maybe. But for the moment, I don't see him as having a future for us. Sessegnon came on and did essentially what Doherty was doing, just a little bit faster.
Let's go for a few comments here before we move on. Now, Derek says he'd like to see Harvey White given a chance. He did well against Marine last year, didn't he? And he hasn't really had much of a sniff. He's very young, isn't he, still?
Well, I'd like to see Harvey White given a chance, but I'd like Harvey White given a chance in the early rounds of the FA Cup or the Carling or the Carabao Cup. I don't want him. You know what? This is the thing. You're right. Harvey White is a good player, or will be a good player, but we cannot be thinking in those terms as a club, in terms of we need to start pulling our under 23s into our first team. We could potentially play Dylan Markanday, Dane Scarlett, Harvey White, Jack Clark, right, as four of our starters. Can you imagine what other clubs will do to us on the pitch? They will rip us to pieces. We really can't think in those terms. We've got to be thinking, I would like to see this player at our club. Your Kessiers, your Vlahovics, people like that.
I think the under 23s are playing at the stadium, aren't they, next Monday?
Yeah.
You can get tickets for £5.
Season ticket holders getting for free.
Yeah. Oh, do we? Oh, nice.
I think so.
Who are we playing?
West Ham.
I know the women
Can't
are
actually
playing them.
remember.
I know the women are playing them on Sunday.
Bear with me.
Whilst Res looks like that, Scott says he didn't think that the subs had any kind of positive or negative impact, just like for like, really.
Only Skip, really.
Yeah, I think Hill moved the ball quickly, which helped us a little bit. Alan says Conte was like a different manager last night, passionless on the touchline and looked like a beaten man. Blackburn were playing on Monday, the under 23s. And then Alan says he looked like a beaten man in the press conference. Derek says the youngsters will try harder than some of those expletives last night. That brings us on to our first talking point. Actually, just bring up the banner for the Tottenham talking points.
And just to confirm, if you want to go to the under 23 game and you're a season ticket holder, you get in for free.
Okay, and otherwise it's £5, isn't it?
Otherwise, it's £5 for adults and
yeah.
£1 for kids. Yeah.
I feel guilty for coming on this week, lads, because to be honest with you, I've not been much use for any of it because as I see 20 minutes and I haven't even seen his.
Let that be a lesson to you, young man. Never give up
Yes.
on Spurs after 20 minutes. You got to put yourself through the whole 90 minutes of pain and shite.
To be honest with you, I as a kid I went week in, week out, and there was only one time I ever come away early, and it wasn't just because we was losing 2-0 to Burnley. It was because the clouds opened. The clouds opened, and I, as a youngster, I went out all prepared, like not having a coat, and I've gone to the game and sort of like I got absolutely saturated, and I got home just before the end of the match, and we lost 3-2 in the end. And
the rest of us got metaphorically pissed on last night in the stadium, didn't we, Res?
Yeah. True.
Have you had a chance to see Conte's post-game statements, Al? Have you seen
those?
No,
I haven't seen. I haven't seen nothing. I'll be honest with you. I've kind of avoided Twitter to an extent today because I know what it's like.
You don't want to see your boy Levy getting slammed left, right, and centre.
Well, to be honest with you, it's not so much Levy. It's just the fact that I think I'm on the fence in the sense of I'm shit scared of who might come in because there is a possibility we could get a lot worse. You know, and it's as I say, for the price they're selling,
it can't get a lot worse, Alan. Can it really? One trophy in 21 years.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but John, I put that a lot of that down to the fact that the reason why we haven't won them trophies is because the fact that Chelsea, Man City, have literally, and Man United had the funds to be able to go out and bang, 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 bang. I mean, Man United have spent over $500 million in the last 3 or 4 years, and they've won nothing. But I know it's not 20 years, but you know what I mean?
There's certain moments like Redknapp when he was top of the league and he asked for reinforcements and Levy didn't give him reinforcements. All it needed is a couple of, bit of icing on top of the cake, and he's missed those moments every time. Levy, hasn't he? He's shown demonstrably that he's not prepared to take a risk to get us over that line. I think that's the problem, Alan, more than us getting blown out of the water by Chelsea and Man City. There have been moments where we've led ourselves to the precipice of doing something, and Levy's been too cautious when we wanted him to, push us over the line.
The Saha and
Nelson,
yeah,
and Pochettino, and
you see,
needed a couple of players.
I hear that a lot about, if we get rid of Levy, who do we bring in, instead, and that's a little bit of a false position to put oneself in because we don't know what's going to happen in the future, right? We might, let's say, for instance, Levy, disappears up his own spreadsheet
in the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, and someone else comes in and is even worse. Yeah, that's possible, but that's not guaranteed. It might be someone who actually understands how football works and works for the benefit of the club. We never know, right? He might sell up and we might get bought by some bloodthirsty, murdering individual, let's say, from somewhere around the world.
Azerbaijan.
Or we might get a great benefactor. We don't know. All we know at the moment, and all we can say at the moment, is that things are not going well at the moment.
No.
And ultimately, the buck stops at that man. He is ultimately responsible, regardless of whether or not we've got Paratici now, regardless of whether or not he built the stadium, regardless of what he may or may not have done. Right now, Tottenham are not competitors.
No.
And that you cannot find an excuse for. One cannot find an excuse for. There is no defense for it. There is no mitigation for it. None. Right? His job is to run this football club and to make it successful. Has he done that? And that's a very binary question. The answer is either yes or no. If you think he's done that well, I would point to 14 years since a trophy.
Yeah.
If the answer is no, you have to want him out. That's the only. It really does boil down to that.
Yeah, I can see it. As I say, I just feel that at the end of the day, the owners that Man City and Chelsea have just made it a lot harder to be able to win their trophies.
You're not wrong, Alan. You're not
because
wrong.
going back to my main time. I mean, the 80s. I love the 80s. Don't get me wrong. We had a beautiful, but at the end of the day, there was no. Oh, they look like real favourites for an FA Cup or League Cup. Even though Liverpool dominated football, they weren't favourites from the start to win the FA Cup because they used to put all their eggs really in the league in that basket.
Yeah.
Where now, sort of like Man City come along, they can put one 11 out for a League Cup, 1-11 out for the FA Cup, and 1-11 out for the league, and they can still basically win them all.
Sure. And listen,
Johan Cruyff famously said that he's never seen a bag of money win a trophy.
No.
So it's still that's down to 11 players, isn't it?
What you're talking about, which is 100% valid, is something that is bigger than just Spurs, right? It's the state of football as a whole, right? That is, you bang on the money, right? And for me, it is, as certainly Johnny and Nick will attest to, I have been critical of the state of football for a long time, especially those two clubs. But even within that framework, even within that situation that we're in, there is still a level below which Spurs have operated that is indefensible, because Man City and Chelsea can't buy every single player in the world, much as they might want to. They can't buy every player.
No.
Right? And a club of our status should, let's say, for instance, the cream go to them. The level below, we should be a big fish in that pond.
Yeah.
Right? Us and Arsenal and let's say Liverpool and Man United, if you don't want to count Man United as one of the cream, right? That's still a very small pool of clubs. Again, they can't buy all the best players either.
No.
There will always be good players available. We don't get any of them.
No, but so for example, Rex, today or yesterday when it was announced today, Digne to Villa for 25 million, and his comment is, "I've gone there for the manager."
Yeah.
20. So there's 2 points here. 125 million for an established Premier League player.
Yeah.
Why we couldn't go out and just go and say, "Here's 30 million, bang, done."
Yeah.
2, Conte over Gerrard. I'm sure Conte's got more pull than Gerrard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that Digne's not on massive amounts of wages either.
No.
The same thing that Alan's just pointing there. Lingard, we want to wait until the summer so we get him for free rather than paying 10 million or 15 million. You got 40 million quid, let's just say, for 2 established Premier League players that will change our team.
Yeah.
And so we're not talking go out and spend 100 million, go out and spend 150 million on one player. You've got 2 players there.
Yeah.
Even throwing a 50 million bid for Rashford. He's not happy. Something's going on. Just try and test the waters.
Yeah.
And let's just say that we threw in that 50, 60 million pound bid for Rashford, and we get 3 players for 100 million rather than spending 60 million on someone that spends his time in McDonald's. 50 odd million on Sanchez. That's 115, 120 million on those 2 joke of a players.
And Lo Celso. And Lo Celso, that was like another 40 odd million or something like that.
54, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what I don't understand. So when we sit there and we go, if we can see it and we can say 10 million here, 25 million here, and okay, an audacious bid that probably wouldn't, it wouldn't wash. But for those 2 players, Digne and, I'm not talking about, 25 million on Chris Wood. I'm not talking about going and spending 25 million on Chris Wood because Newcastle needed a striker, right? Because of what's happened with Wilson and everything else. And they've got no one. So I get why they've done it, but we could have gone and got Digne. We could go out and go and get Lingard. And okay, if that then meant we got those 2 and then Traore comes on loan with the option to buy in the summer, that's a hell of a lot better than the position that we're in now.
Weren't there rumours that Digne turned Chelsea down? Now, would that be because he knew when Chilwell would be back, he might be a squad player, or was it just for the fact that he don't want to come to London? I don't know.
Or maybe he doesn't like Tuchel, or maybe he wouldn't be first choice, or maybe they couldn't guarantee him game time. There could be any number of reasons.
Yeah. I'm surprised. But I'm surprised.
Barry's making those are absolutely right.
But I'm surprised with Villa because Taggart's not a bad left back. You know what I mean? He's done well for Villa. Taggart.
We'll never know the reasons, but none of that detracts away from what Barry's saying. In that we are a big club. We are a rich club. We have money. We have massive revenue coming in. We have money. Why are we not spending it? Why is he out there trying to generate revenue from non-football sources? Villa, listen, I mean, what you said the other day about Villa spending the Grealish money, in a way, you are in a way right. They are. It is revenue that they've got available in a way to go and buy, but that's the point. They are not spending outside of their means. That's the point. We are not even spending according to our means. No. We're not even coming close to spending according to our means. There is money being generated. There has been no lockdown. Right, so it's not as if he can fall on that thing, and it's not a case of we've got to build up money and then spend it. It's not tax and spend. The way that football finance works is that you are basically spending what you're going to generate tomorrow, what you're going to generate in 2 years, what you're going to generate in 5 years. That's why the Sky deals, the broadcasting deals are for 5 years at a time rather than just one season at a time. That money is there. Where is it going? That's the thing. That's what gets me.
My argument there was, though, Rez, is, as I say, every club at the start of the season will always have a transfer budget. You know what I mean? What they can spend each summer. And at the time, at the end of the summer, Villa was showing near enough £30 million profit. So they've had that money plus what they were intended to spend.
But that's not how their finances will work either. It won't be a case of having 30 million in the bank, which they can then spend. That's not how massive businesses work at all, right? And it's actually outside of the scope of transfer funds. Transfer funds are meaningless. Transfer fees are pretty much meaningless. They're just markers. That's all they are. Because all we're talking about here is basically assets moving from one big multi-million-pound company to another one. It's just a transfer of an asset. You have to have a fee on there because you need to put something on your books. The main key when it comes to football finance is wages, right? We generate £330 million a year, and we only spend about 30% of it on our wages. Where is the rest?
Well, we've only just started generating that kind of money since the stadium.
No. This was in 16-17. Those are the last figures that I've got. 330 million. It's more than that now, right? No. I would not be surprised if we're topping 500 million right now. So yes, obviously some of that, it's not all profit. There will be operating costs. I understand all that. But This is the key. The last figures that we had, we spent about 30% of our, I think it was 30%, 30 or 40% of our turnover on wages. The next club up, if you charted them, this was when Sheffield United was still in the league, they spent 58%, and they were the second lowest of their turnover on wages. Some of them exceed it. Leicester, they spent 107% of their turnover, so they had money being pumped in to cover wages, right?
Yeah.
But there is a huge differential between us at the bottom and whoever is next, always. And that is the key. It's not about the transfer fee, and that's why I've said about it's not about having 100 million in the bank from Grealish. It's about the fact that this is just a movement of an asset going from one company to another. But it's the wages, which are operating costs, that is a consideration. And we generate so much turnover and spend so little of it on wages that questions need to be asked of Daniel Levy.
The deal for Digne over 4.5 years is going to cost them 53 million, which is what, 10 million less than we paid as the fee for Ndombele.
Yeah.
Not to mention his fucking wages at 200 grand a week or whatever.
Don't get me wrong. I would have loved to have had Digne. I would have been very happy. We would have had a player that can take set pieces. We would have also had the set pieces from throw-ins.
Yep.
He would have been
gone for Trippier. Could have gone for Trippier as well.
I think Richard makes a good point on screen here. Which the problem that we were thinking, Richard, was with Conte coming in, that we were hoping that this would be an end to Conte. To Levy playing his stupid games and trying to do brinksmanship negotiations all the time. So Richard says it said of Yasser Arafat that he never misses an opportunity to miss an opportunity. That brings me to my next point. Actually, I was going to put up here. So do you think our transfer window inertia? Like I said, we were hoping this would be the end of Levy doing this, but it seems like he's waiting until teams are getting desperate in the last 7 days, and then he can try and do deals and see what's out there rather than any particular planning that Paratici and Levy have got him in place. It just seems to be following the same.
It's looking like Levy. It's looking like Levy all over again, isn't it?
And we were hoping that it changed with Conte. And
the thing is as well is in the next few weeks there's double game weeks. You know, we're playing Sunday, we're playing
bargains
Wednesday,
out there and stuff, isn't it? That's what he's hoping for. There'll be bargains that come available at the end of the window and stuff.
What are you going to do? You might as well, he'd be better off phoning up Gareth Ainsworth and signing Akinfenwa as backup fucking striker at this rate. Do you know what I mean?
You know what? Listen, which would you rather have, Kane and nobody as a backup, or Kane and Chris Wood?
Yeah.
Which is better? You can't tell me that having Chris Wood would be a disadvantage. So we could have at least got him.
Yeah.
He would have loved to be a Spurs player, right? So. Newcastle have bought a striker. We haven't, even if it's for 6 months.
Let's hope Paratici's cooking, and it's
I wouldn't be shocked if that's what he's trying to do a 6-month deal so that he don't have to spend on something and see how good they are.
Yeah,
if they prove
just pushing it down the line, though, isn't it, Alan? We're going to have to pay it in the summer. It's going to affect our summer transfer window.
Like we said, we've Conte's got. Well, as per his contract, he's got 3 windows. He's got 1 window, and it's this window. And we know what's going to happen. I will be. I know Daigle's spoken about it, and I'm waiting to speak to Daigle. But I will probably be with Daigle at some point this week at the outside the training ground.
Absolutely.
Because it's not good enough. Because what's going to happen is we're going to. Looking at. The game on Sunday is the battle of who doesn't have a midfield. Because Arsenal don't have a midfield now, and we have a midfield that doesn't, at the moment isn't playing where it should be. Højbjerg
doesn't link up the attack,
and we don't know what's going to happen, or what's going to happen. So Sunday is going to be the battle of the midfield, of no midfield, the battle of the strikers that aren't scoring. And the shaky defense, and whatever happens, it's it'll probably be 5-5 or something ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? That's how ridiculous it could be on Sunday. But we need to go out, and if there wasn't the intent after last Wednesday, there should have been the intent after this Wednesday, and to make a statement going into Sunday, creating that buzz. But actually, we're playing Arsenal on Sunday.
Yeah,
Well,
not looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not about not looking forward to it. They've got no one. Odegaard's got COVID. That Emil Smith-Rowe's out as well. Jack is suspended. They've got 2 players at the African Nations.
Party's out. Is Party out?
And one of the other guys at the African Nations.
Yeah.
So they've got no. They've got Lukonga or something. He was going to be. Is their only recognised midfielder?
Sounds like a hide into nothing.
So either it's going to be a boring 0-0 game, or it's going to be 5-5, or we're going to get spanked. So it's
Well, I'm going for a 2-1 win.
Well, I'm going for. I'd go for. I think we're going to win, but again, we need. Where's the intent? Levy is sat there in that stadium last night. One, it's not full. He's seen what's happened, and there's still not today. They'd rather leak a story about fucking a cinema and the fucking flats that was. Oh, look at us! We're doing our bit for the community so we could build the stadium. What about when they burnt? What about when they burnt down the steelworks? Oh, sorry, allegedly burnt down the steelworks.
Careful.
Start the
it weren't me,
stadium.
sir.
Careful what you say there, Nick.
You know what I mean? It's all.
You're right. I mean, listen,
but let's not. This is a football club.
It's almost like they don't quite get it. It's almost like they don't quite get it. It's like, oh, we had a bad result last night. What do we do? How do we get people on side? I know. Let's tell them about the new development we've got going. That will help. Yeah. Excellent.
Let's buy another golf course. Let's.
Yeah.
We've got the.
Have we had any emails today? Let's have a look. Have they sent out any kit emails today or anything? Let's have a look.
I don't
remember seeing anything.
Buy one, get one free or something. They sent that one at half time. Buy one, get one free on last season's shirt.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
We've got the best stadium in the world. We've got the best training facilities in the world, and we fill it with bloody confidence players.
Got poor supporters though disappear after 20 minutes, though, haven't you?
all I've had today is saying that my pass has been updated with the game for the ticket for Sunday. Not flogging any kit today.
No. You had all right on that on your phone last night. Would you just?
It basically stacked them up, and I could flip between the two to get into ours. Yeah.
Anyway, lads, I've got to disappear. If you're still here,
we're just finishing off actually. So, what was your score prediction for the Filth on Sunday?
I fancy actually us to win 2-1. Come on, you Spurs.
Who are the goal scorers going to
be? Have we got any players? I'm going to go Kane because Kane's the only one we've got, and I'm going to go for a skippy miss-hit volley from
Kane and Skip. I'll take that all day long. See you, Mr. Toast. Enjoy your toast. Enjoy your pate on toast.
Alan, take care, mate.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
Ta-da. And then there were 3. Guys, I have got
layout.
The what?
You know, at the bottom you've got the little icons.
Yeah.
Change the layout so we're not all
this one.
Yeah,
that's better.
That's much better. Yeah.
That's it.
It's not as offensive in the viewer's face.
Yeah,
I don't like this one.
I like that one. Yeah.
That's right.
Surely whoever's talking should. Let's try that one.
I don't think it's sophisticated enough. You can do it every time someone speaks. You can flick between them, but you can even reorder it, Johnny. If you click and drag the windows, you can put them in different positions. Well.
But anyway, there you go.
There we go. Yeah.
So,
I did do a quiz on Steve Malbronx. So Jens said he's happy for one of you guys to do it, or should we wait for him to do it next week?
We'll wait for Jens to do it. I think we're doing a certain disservice by even attempting to answer any questions without the quiz master here.
Indeed.
So can the guys in the who are watching put in your score predictions? Derek's gone for 1-1.
I'm gonna do a Brian Daigle and just do a Bob Spur 4-1.
4-1.
Yeah, it won't
Nicky,
be that. But...
No, Nick.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm more looking forward to the burger that I'm gonna have.
You and your burgers.
Just to detract.
Meat is murder.
If you know the chicken and you fancy a burger, there's a burger stand on the corner of the south and east stands, right just round the corner. Brilliant. Had that last night. Oh, amazing.
And you're looking forward to going back again, are you already?
Yeah,
Rez,
I'm going back.
What are you talking about? The burger in the stadium?
No, not in the stadium. On the outside.
Oh, on the outside, yeah, east and south on the burger vans. Yes.
Yeah. Brilliant, that was.
Yeah.
Oh, big up, John. Good to see you, mate.
John, what's your score prediction? Come on, hit Rez with your score prediction as well.
Alan, is that 2-1 to us or 2-1 to the filth?
I think it's 2-1 to the filth from Alan. Yeah. Scott's gone 2-2. Lucas Moore brace for Scott, I'm sure.
I think so, yeah.
Derek's gone 1-1. Lucas Moore to score for Derek.
Okay.
Alan's gone 2-1 with Lucas Moore to score. Dave Hotspur's gone 2-0 with Lucas Moore to get both. John's gone 2-2 with Lucas Moore to get both.
And on the 4-1, my prediction, Lucas Moore is actually going to get all 5.
Yeah, he's going to get an own goal and 4 goals for us.
And 4 goals, yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm with you, Rez. I'm gonna go 4-1. Kane loves to score against Arsenal. I'm gonna go for a Kane hat trick.
He does.
We all live in a Lucas Moore land, a Lucas Moore land, a Lucas Moore land. We all live in a Lucas Moore land.
You're just trolling Scott now, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, Kane hat trick.
Quiz.
Oh,
go on, Nick.
Go on, Nick.
Can I finish? This is the longest prediction ever. I'm gonna go for a Kane hat trick, and I think.
Can you imagine North London derby hat trick for Kane? That'd be beautiful, wouldn't it?
And I think Skippy is gonna break his duck.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, we said the other day, didn't we? It'd be nice for him to get the goal in the North London derby.
Yeah,
and I think that we're going to do that. We'll probably go 1-0 down to start off with.
Who are we even going to play? We said about the midfield, Nick, but up front we've only got Lucas and Kane again, haven't we? I don't think he'll start with Hill. And bloody Lo Celso was awful the other day, wasn't he? Has he got Stevie back?
Maybe Matt Doherty will score a goal.
Maybe he won't be anywhere near the fucking pitch.
Hopefully that was his last game last night.
I think Cess has got to play. Emerson will play. There's word on the street that Dyer's still not going to be fit.
Shit.
So it'll be Sanchez, Tanganga, Davis again, I guess.
Yeah, probably.
It'll probably be. I think it'll be Skip and Højbjerg, even though I want Skip and Winks, and then Kane, Moore, and somebody else.
Dele?
Anyone. No.
After Lo Celso's shit show last night, is he going to give him another go, or will he put Dele in?
In answer to Alan, no, but after last night, I really should be.
He's just high on burgers, Alan, after
he's
going on about his burger all day, and he can't wait to get back there on the
can't get wait. I'm gutted that I will not be there again. The strike of the North London, the curse of the North London derby for me not being able to attend again.
Yeah.
But
have to make up for that, mate.
I know.
Possibly, Dave. There was talk of Romero being back for it, wasn't there, for this one?
Yeah,
Romero and
could you imagine could you imagine in a couple of weeks' time when Romero and Dyer fit and back together? It would just be.
Guys, I've got to love you and leave you as well.
Okay, let's call it a day then. Thanks for everyone watching tonight. All the comments, everyone.
Big love to you guys. Thanks very much for tuning in and stuff. And I will catch you guys
on the flip side. Yeah, enjoy your burger on Sunday. If we don't see you before, I'm sure we might see you on the stream before that. But yeah,
of course we will. Don't be so.
Of course you will.
And it's not Red. It'll be me, as I'm like second whore in command.
Years.
Would you like to say goodbye as well, Nick?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you for everyone for watching. Like, subscribe, smash that like, and then
smash that like.
And
Come on, you
You know, in
Spurs.
tribute for,
Come
in
on, you
tribute
Spurs,
for, in
and
tribute for Daigle, Levy out, and come on, you Spurs.
and we should say to,
Levy
to
out.
Barry, well done for giving Mr. K your ticket last night.
Yeah.
So he's been to his first game.
Yeah.
On that positive note, come on, you Spurs.
That was the only positive. Come on, you
That's the only
Spurs.
Spurs.